Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of RoboMania featuring Wombo Combo versus Cheesus. My name is Game & Soy, and I am extremely excited for the fight card tonight. In our last episode, we saw Counter Blitz, the champion, retain its titles, and now sets its schedule to RoboMania 15, where it'll challenge another contender for the title. And I'm saying this because we have two contenders in the making right now. Honestly, there's a lot of contenders on this fight card who may be fighting in RoboMania 15 against the current champion. The headliner though, Wombo Combo versus Cheesus, an outstanding matchup. We got a vertical versus a horizontal spinner on this one. Both robots are undefeated with a total record of 5-0. Wombo Combo having 3 wins to 0 losses, while Cheesus is 2 wins with 0 losses as well. So as the old saying goes, someone's O has got to go. And it's almost a shame because both of these robots have been on a tear lately. For our co-main event, we have a really good matchup as well. The rising contender, Wild Goose, the flipper, has a nice new design, going up against a robot who is battle tested and has shown that it deserves to be in the top 15, Splatoon. Wild Goose hasn't fought a robot with this much caliber as of yet, and I'm very curious to see how it's going to hold up against a really good robot like Splatoon. There's not a whole lot of robots where I look at them and I go, holy crap, that is a scary robot, but Splatoon is definitely one of those. And before that, we have a very interesting matchup between two Battle of the Rookie veterans, Airborne going up against Destiny Bond. Airborne fighting in Battle of the Rookies 1, while Destiny Bond fighting in the second one. This will be their first time meeting in this league, and I'm really excited to see how both of these robots are going to hold up against each other. They're both towards the bottom of the top 15, so with a loss today, the loser is most likely getting kicked out of that top 15. So their backs are almost against the wall on this one, and I'm really curious to see how they're going to hold up. We do also have 5 debuting robots in tonight's fight card. We're getting to that point where there's not a whole lot of remaining debuting robots, and we saved some really good ones for this fight card. The fight that I'm really excited for is going to be between Nitro and Eviscerator. Both of these robots are vertical spinners, they both can deal a lot of damage, and they're very durable. I personally don't see this fight going very long, and I think it could be over within a couple of seconds, but I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. It is only the second fight card at the start of this, so it's gonna be coming up pretty soon. Like I said, we got 5 robots making their official debut today, and I'm really excited for a majority of these fights. I don't think I could wait any longer, guys, because this fight card is going to be pretty great. So let's jump right into it and get into our first fight of the night. A spectacular debut unfolds as Midnight Operator's Flipper dares to challenge the relentless fury of Whiteout's vertical spinner. The arena will witness a clash of innovation and brute force as these contenders vie for supremacy. And here we go for our first fight of the night. This is going to be between Midnight Operator going up against Whiteout. We have a new little format that's going to be going on with this, so we can see some more detailed breakdowns of each professional robot's fight. I'm really excited about this. Fighting out of the red square, we have Whiteout coming off of a loss against Parallel Paradox by KO. 56 minutes into its fight, it's going to be looking to get back into the winning column when it goes up against this robot standing in front of it, making its official debut tonight. We have Midnight Operator making its official debut. This robot is a lifter flipper robot. It has some exposed wheels, but I don't see that getting really in the way of it. I think this is going to be an absolutely fun matchup. 3, 2, 1. Let this fight begin between Midnight Operator and Whiteout. I am so excited for this matchup. I do just want to say the colors on the bottom may be a little bit messed up for this episode. Just a little bit of a heads up. I messed it up. The colors for the red and blue, they are wrong. But we do have some crazy stuff happening in this fight. Midnight Operator did lose part of its wheel right away, and it's now getting flipped upside down. Can we get a recovery from Midnight Operator? It seems like it keeps flipping itself over when it's trying to drive. It seems like it's getting too much speed and then just instantly flips over. Whiteout is just staying underneath. A huge hit right there, which makes multiple pieces come off. More wheels are coming off as well. And Whiteout is shredding it apart right now. Midnight Operator is underneath, gets a flip, and actually flips itself over in the process. Whiteout doesn't get flipped, but there we go. A good slam against the wall. I see some smoke as well coming from somebody. I'm not exactly sure who it is. Might have been Midnight Operator on that one. Midnight Operator is now pushing, though. We are just over a minute now in this fight. And it's been a little bit back and forth. I think Whiteout has got the better of the exchanges so far, though. Alright, some more shots. The weapon has stopped from Whiteout. I'm not sure if it's stuck or if it's been burnt. It looks like it's back up, though, which is good news for Whiteout. More wheels are now coming off of Midnight Operator. It has lost all the wheels on its left side. So I don't think it can drive properly anymore. That is not a good sign. It's now being flipped against the corner of the arena. Can Whiteout finish this fight, or can the Midnight Operator pull a crazy comeback and get this win? We have just about a minute left, and there's going to be a lot of things that need to happen for Midnight Operator for this to work out. Some more pins are still happening. It looks like Whiteout is almost content with just keeping this as a slow-paced fight. Just keep pinning, keep doing not significant damage, just keep striking. And I think the weapon is now burnt out of Whiteout. That is not a good sign. This is the chance for Midnight Operator to possibly get a flip. I know it's losing half of its wheels, but it just keeps getting out-wedged. It seems like Whiteout may be the lower robot in this fight. We have 30 seconds left. Can anything happen in these last 30 seconds? There's our chance for Midnight Operator. Can it get this flip off? I'm not sure if it's broken or not. It tried to, but it just couldn't. It's now getting a little bit stuck against the wall, and I think we might be going to a judge's decision. 10 seconds left. Can anything crazy happen for the judges maybe to see this fight in a different way than how it's been going? There is a small pin by Midnight Operator, but that is going to be the end of the fight. It wasn't the most intense fight, it wasn't the most entertaining fight, but I think Whiteout did perform pretty well in that. I believe this will be going in favor of Whiteout just based off of those first 2 minutes when the weapon was working. You can see right here the shots just ripping it apart multiple times. The wheels were coming off and it shredded off different pieces. Here's a good comeback though right there for Midnight Operator, slamming against the wall, but then started to smoke. I'm not sure if it's that was his drive or not, or the weapon. The weapon seemed to be working, but I don't know. I think it's going to go in favor of Whiteout for this fight. While we wait for the judges to figure out who won this fight, let's take a look at some of the statistics of this fight. Now, on paper, I don't know if you guys can tell, it looks pretty one-sided to me. We have 83 strikes to 0 strikes. I know Midnight Operator couldn't throw any strikes because it's a flipper, but I just want to point out, look at the amount of flips. The vertical spinner actually had more flips in this fight, so I do think that this is going to be a significant win by Whiteout. It just seemed like Midnight Operator could not just get going at all, so it just seemed like Whiteout was in complete control of the entire fight. It did what it wanted to do, it just couldn't get that finish. If I had to kind of complain about a certain part of this fight, it would be Whiteout not being able to finish the fight. I do also want to point out the amount of pins. The vertical spinner Whiteout actually significantly had way more pins than the control flipper robot of Midnight Operator. So it seems like Whiteout is more of a control robot than a damage disher, but that's just my personal opinion. That was a pretty quick answer by the judges. We already have the decision, so let's see who won this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decisions. The judges score this contest 30 to 26, 30 to 27, and 30 to 26. For the winner by unanimous decision, Whiteout. And with that, we see Whiteout bounce back with the unanimous decision victory over Midnight Operator. The fight started out pretty good. It was pretty back and forth for, I'm gonna say, about the first minute, and then after that, Midnight Operator just couldn't get going. It lost a lot of its wheels, and Whiteout pretty much capitalized. It wasn't the most exciting fight, however, Whiteout really needed this to win because it's been on a lose-win type of streak lately, and another loss could have put it in deep waters. Whiteout now has a professional record of 2 wins and 2 losses. It's back at 500. so there is still a chance that this robot can make a little splash for its name. As for Midnight Operator, like I said, it didn't have a great ending to that fight. Also, Whiteout kind of just, its weapons stopped working, so there's a lot of things that we kind of critique on both robots for this fight, but I do see Midnight Operator kind of bouncing back from here, especially because it just seemed like it went up against a tough opponent for its debuting fight. It seemed like it liked to flip itself over more often than not, which kind of put itself in bad positions throughout the fight. But if it gets that fixed up, I can see Midnight Operator being a contender in the future. One fight down, 6 to go. Let's jump into our next one. The arena becomes a battleground of the new contenders, as Nitro's vertical egg beater clashes head-on with Eviscerator's fierce spitter. In this clash of newcomers, sparks will fly as they strive to etch their names in the history of RoboMania. And here we go for our second fight of the night. This is going to be between Nitro and Eviscerator. Both of these robots are making their debuts tonight, and this is going to be a vertical spinner matchup. I'm really excited for this one because I think it's going to end in a knockout. Fighting out of the red square, we have Eviscerator. Now this is a long boy robot with a very small weapon, so it does have some exposed angles on its chassis. I'm curious to see how it's going to perform today because, I mean, that weapon does look pretty powerful, but like I said, it has the back end that's kind of exposed. It's going up against Nitro, who is fighting out of the blue corner, matches his color scheme as well, and this robot is an egg beater that looks absolutely terrifying. I'm curious to see how hard this robot actually hits. 3, 2, 1. Let this matchup begin. Nitro versus Eviscerator. Nitro kind of baits Eviscerator right off the bat. Lets it come to it, and there's multiple pieces already coming off of Eviscerator. Part of the wedgelets are coming off. It seems like Nitro can dish a lot of damage. Flips it almost over. I do see that Eviscerator also lost part of its wheel. Not a great start by Eviscerator, but it is keeping the aggression going, which is huge. But now Nitro, as I say that, gets a great pin and sets Eviscerator on fire now. This is not a great start for Eviscerator. I know this is not the first 30 seconds that it wanted, but then Eviscerator gets underneath Nitro and has a huge hit. I'm not sure if it did any internal damage or not, but that was a significant hit by Eviscerator. Eviscerator is still on fire, trying to survive this fight. Nitro's, I think it's slowed down somewhat. I'm not sure if it burnt out part of its motor, but Nitro is definitely a little bit slower now. Eviscerator gets a good pin against the wall and flips over Nitro. Now it can work upside down. Eviscerator is on fire still, and we're not seeing any movement from Nitro at all right now. We got 3 seconds left on the counter, and this fight is over. Just like that, I think that one big shot from Eviscerator may have either done some damage to Nitro or Nitro burned out its drive. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but the whole entire fight, it looked like it was Nitro's to win. It did start out a little bit aggressive from Eviscerator. It got flipped upside down a couple of times and lost a couple wheels. This shot right here sets it on fire, a big shot by Nitro, but then Eviscerator comes back with this next shot. Let's see if it lines up right here. It gets a good pin against the wall and then tilts it and shoots it away. What a huge shot by Eviscerator right there. And then it gets pinned against the wall, flips it over, and I think that's just how the fight ended right there. Nitro couldn't move, and Eviscerator wins by TKO. What an absolutely crazy fight that was. Eviscerator comes back from being lit on fire and gets the TKO victory over Nitro. I'm not very sure what happened to Nitro when it got flipped over on its head. It seemed like it just couldn't work upside down. I don't know if the wheels got damaged at all or if there was some sort of damage to the internals. I'm not exactly sure. However, Eviscerator got that counter, flipped it over, and got the TKO victory. I am a little bit concerned for Eviscerator once it goes up against better competition because it did get lit on fire in the first minute of this fight. Although Nitro is a really hard-hitting robot, and I could definitely see Nitro bouncing back after this. A very fun back and forth fight. I honestly thought Nitro had it in the first half, and then Eviscerator came back afterwards, and I just enjoyed that fight altogether. Eviscerator remains undefeated in this and will look to be fighting against other robots in the future. I'm very excited to see what the matchmakers are going to kind of come up with. I would love to see Eviscerator versus Whiteout, both the winners. That would be a really fun matchup in my opinion, but only time can tell when it comes to that. We got our first finish of the night. Let's see if we can get another in our next fight. A debut duel of destruction is on the horizon as Battle Ravage's vertical spinner goes up against Arcane's mighty flipper. We will be treated to a display of mechanical prowess as these bots aim to establish their dominance. Up next, we got Battle Ravage going up against Arcane. This is two robots coming together, both making their official debuts as well. This fight is going to be pretty interesting. We got a vertical versus a flipper lifter. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to go. Fighting out of the red square, we have Arcane. This is a lifter robot who seems like it has a lot of armor on it. So I'm curious to see how it's going to perform when it goes up against a robot that can dish quite a bit of damage. And in its way, who is going to be fighting out of the blue corner, we have Battle Ravage. Now this robot has a huge weapon, and I'm really excited to see what it can do when it hits another robot, because that weapon looks very powerful. I'm very curious about this one. Let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Let this next match begin. Battle Ravage versus Arcane. Battle Ravage has the same strategy that Nitro had earlier, staying in the box during the box rush to wait out the opponent, and gets flipped over in the meantime. I don't know if it has a self-righting mechanism. That's the problem about Battle Ravage. Its weapon is moving. I see smoke coming from it, and I think the weapon may have just died. If that's the case, that is significant, and I think Arcane may have just won this fight right now. Are you absolutely kidding me? Let's see. Let's see if it gets any movement. 2, 1. This fight is completely over. Arcane, winner by TKO. Are you absolutely kidding me? What a weird start to that fight where Battle Ravage just didn't get, it almost seemed like it didn't know the fight was ready and then just got flipped over immediately. The weapon burnt out when it was upside down. No self-righting mechanism or anything like that, and that fight is over. We have the 5th quickest TKO for Arcane. And just like that, the 5th quickest TKO in RoboMania Fighting League, Arcane flips over Battle Ravage, it burnt out its weapon, and the fight was over just like that. That's a pretty good way to start out your career in RoboMania, by flipping over the opponent and winning in under 40 seconds. I don't think Arcane took any damage at all in that fight, which is really good. And there's now going to be a lot of momentum on Arcane's side for this. Now, as for Battle Ravage, it was an unfortunate loss because it didn't really have time to do anything. Right during the box rush, Battle Ravage got flipped over pretty much immediately, and then the weapon just burnt out because it was upside down. I would like to see Battle Ravage have a streamic in the future possibly, just so it can get out of those sticky situations. But I also do want to see Battle Ravage go up against a robot where it'll give it a little bit more time in the future. I do think Arcane is going to be a problem in this league for any robot, just because of how its design is. So I'm very excited to see this robot in the future. It's one fight in, and it already has the 5th quickest TKO in the RoboMania Fighting League. I'm super excited for it. We got 2 TKOs in a row. Let's see if we can make it 3 in our next matchup. Death Princess hungers for redemption and sets its sights on Crusader of the Light. Armed with the arm and shield configuration, the arena is about to witness a fierce encounter of these contenders. And here we go for our next matchup. This is going to be between Death Princess and Crusader of the Light. We have a very slight favor for Crusader of the Light. The sword and shield configuration, I'm very interested to see how this one is going to play out. Fighting in the red square though, we have Crusader of the Light. This robot has a 0% finish rate. It has only 1 victory, and it was by decision. It lost by elimination. It's coming off that win though, so let's see if we can get 2 in a row from Crusader of the Light. But fighting in the blue square, we have Death Princess. This robot is coming off of a loss where it lost to Wild Goose by TKO, but it does have that TKO ratio. It won with TKO and it lost with a TKO. Let's see how this goes. 3, 2, 1. Let this matchup begin. Death Princess up against Crusader of the Light. We have a couple wheels immediately coming off. There's multiple pieces coming off of both robots already. The shield is protecting right now from Death Princess's weapon, which is kind of the design of Crusader of the Light. A couple of big shots. It seems like Death Princess can't get underneath. There is a fire now coming out of, I'm not sure who. I think that's Death Princess. That is! There is a fire coming out of Death Princess after a pretty big shot by Crusader of the Light, but Death Princess is staying aggressive. I'm not sure where that fire is coming from, but it seems like it can still operate a little bit. Crusader of the Light seems to be taking it for a little bit of a ride. I wonder how long. This was early in the fight where Death Princess was lit on fire. How long can it survive? Let's see here. Goes around in a circle a couple times. Gets flipped upside down. And slammed into the wall. Crusader of the Light is putting on a absolutely stunning performance right now against Death Princess. And Death Princess is still somehow surviving. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this robot. It's very durable. There is a really good pin against the wall right now. I'm not sure if it's dead yet. It is not. It's still working. Are you kidding me? It's an absolute zombie. It's surviving and it's pretty much dead. Here we see, can we get a comeback? This would be one of the most craziest comebacks ever, I think, in RoboMania. Now a lot of smoke is coming out of Death Princess. Its weapon still seems to be working as well. So there still can be some damage. We're not seeing a lot of damage done by Crusader of the Light right now either. There was a wheel that came off recently from Death Princess. A big shot from Death Princess. It is now just getting moved around and flipped again. Slammed against the wall with more smoke coming out of it. We have a minute left in this fight. Can we see something crazy? It looks like the weapon on Crusader of the Light may have also been burnt out. Oh, this is its chance. Can it get the comeback? Not a lot of movement by either robots. It may seem like they're both exhausted after this one. Crusader of the Light is still maintaining some valuable possession though. It's containing and pinning it. That's all you really need to do in a fight. But a big shot right there by Death Princess trying to counter it. It seems like Crusader of the Light might also have burnt out some of its drive. We are seeing some small movements by both robots. It seems like both robots, at least one side of their drive is out, and also one of their weapons is gone. They both put on an absolutely great performance today. Can we get anything in the last second here? And that is where the fight ends. What an absolutely fun fight that was. Death Princess, Crusader of the Light put on a fantastic performance. Let's take a look at some of these replays for this one. It started out with Death Princess getting underneath right away on Crusader of the Light. Getting a good pin. I think this is where it was set on fire, right there. That's where the fire started. Oh no, great shots from there. And Death Princess maintained its aggression during the entirety of the fight. It constantly kept hitting Crusader of the Light, which eventually burnt out its motor. A great slam right there by Crusader of the Light, which made it a lot more even than I think it was, which is pretty crazy. I have no idea who won this fight. While we wait for the judges to figure out who won this fight, let's take a look at some of the statistics of this fight. Now this one was a lot closer than our first decision, so this one's going to be a little bit weird to see. It started out with Death Princess getting lit on fire, but Death Princess maintained its value through the entirety of the fight, and I think possibly even won that last minute. It was a really close matchup on paper, and as you can see here, the stats are pretty similar as well. The significant strikes went for Crusader of the Light, while the regular strikes went for Death Princess. Crusader of the Light did manage to get more flips and pin rather than Death Princess, but who knows what happened. It seemed like Death Princess definitely won that third minute. Crusader of the Light probably won that first minute, and I think it's ultimately who won that second minute is going to win the fight. Breaking down what the judges are looking at, we're going for damage, control, and aggression. Now damage does favor over both control and aggression. However, I think Death Princess was the more aggressive and had more control for some parts of that fight. There was moments where Crusader of the Light was throwing Death Princess against the wall of the arena though, so I think it can be a crapshoot when it comes to control. I am hearing that the judge's decision is in, and I'm very curious to see who won this one. So let's see who wins this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. The judges scored this contest 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. For the winner by unanimous decision, Crusader of the Light. And just like that, Crusader of the Light gets its second win in a row and is now on a 2-fight winning streak. Now we have to give major props to Death Princess on this fight because it got lit on fire within the first minute of the fight and survived until the very end. I even believe its weapon continued to work the entire fight, which is insane. Crusader of the Light definitely slowed down towards the end, and I could see this fight being a slight controversy. I'm not exactly sure who won it. I do think I have to lean toward Crusader of the Light, but I think major props should go out to Death Princess as well. Crusader of the Light now has 2 decision victories and no finishes. So that is something I think Crusader of the Light does need to work on. Its power to get a finish possibly in the future, but just because of that, it's still winning, so you can't really complain at that point. As for Death Princess, like I said, it's very durable. It survived a lot of damage that went its way, and it pretty much looked good the entire fight. It will be dropping a little bit in the rankings, however, I can still see it coming off of a win in its next fight and being very close to being in the top 15. It is now on a 2-fight losing streak, so it does need to bounce back pretty quickly. We've had some pretty fun fights so far, but I can definitely see these next 3 fights being really entertaining, so let's jump into our next fight. The arena is set for a Battle of the Rookies Veteran Showdown, as Airborne's full body flipper goes head to head with Destiny Bond's vertical spinner. It's a clash of experience as both bots strive to rise above the competition. And up next, we have our next fight. This is going to be between the number 13 ranked Airborne and the number 14 ranked Destiny Bond. I'm very excited for this. This is 2 Battle of the Rookie veteran fights that are going to be coming together. They haven't fought before, so I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. Fighting out of the red square, we have Destiny Bond, who is currently on a 2-fight losing streak, but currently has the 5th quickest knockout in the RFL. So it kind of has 2 good things going for it. One good thing, one bad thing. If it can bounce back today, that'll be absolutely huge. But in its way, we have Airborne, the 3 and 2 ranked robot, and this robot is coming off of a loss right now. It did just lose to Berserker in RoboMania 7, and it's going to be looking to get a little bit of redemption today, and it's gone, it's flipped. What? 3, 2, 1. Let this matchup begin. Airborne versus Destiny Bond, and Airborne gets underneath right away, gets a good flip on Destiny Bond. We got 2 Battle of the Rookie veterans facing off for the first time. I'm very excited for this ranked matchup. Airborne getting some great pins against the wall, gets wedged up, and now Destiny Bond is on its face. They both look stuck right now. Destiny Bond does get out of it, and I think Airborne might be stuck up against the wall. Oh no, what an awful way to lose a fight. Destiny Bond gets the win by TKO. Airborne wedges itself up against the wall and cannot get out of it. Technically, the 4th quickest TKO in the RFL goes to Destiny Bond because Airborne wedges itself against the wall. I think Airborne was also winning the fight at that moment too. This is the spot where it flips itself and wedges it against the wall. You hate to see a fight end like that, but sometimes it just happens. And just like that, we have the 4th quickest TKO in the RoboMania Fighting League. At 32 seconds, Destiny Bond gets Airborne stuck against the wall of the arena and wins by TKO. It was a slight anticlimactic way for Destiny Bond and Airborne to fight each other, but at the end, a win is a win, and I don't think Destiny Bond is going to complain about it. Destiny Bond is now tied for 1st with the most total fights in the RoboMania Fighting League, has the 4th quickest TKO in the RoboMania Fighting League, and the 5th quickest knockout in the RFL. This robot is setting a lot of records right now and is moving up in our ranking system as well. Now, it was on a 2-fight losing streak when it lost to Counter Blitz and Red Dragon, both being KOs and a TKO, but this fight today, I think really it was huge for Destiny Bond to bounce back and get back into that top 10. As for Airborne though, it is now on a 2-fight losing streak and will most likely be booted out of the top 15. Nuts and Bolts was one of the first robots that fought in RoboMania altogether, so it does hurt to see. It now is officially tied for first with the most fights in the RFL, so it is nice to see that at least. Now, depending what happens in the future, we might see this rematch again, just because it was kind of anticlimactic. However, only time will tell. Airborne will have to get on a winning streak, and Destiny Bond will probably have to lose a few as well. But there is a chance that we could see Airborne bouncing back after this fight, because you do not want to be on a 3-fight losing streak in this league. Alright, we got 2 amazing fights left. Let's jump right into this co-main event. The co-main event promises a strategic clash of the undefeated Wild Goose's lifter going up against Splatoon's battle-tested vertical spinner. Strategy and strength collide as these contenders battle for a shot at glory. And here we go for our co-main event of the evening. We have the number 9 ranked Wild Goose going up against the 11 ranked Splatoon. And look at that, slight favor for the underdog, in my opinion, Wild Goose, the lifter flipper. In the red square, we have Splatoon. This robot is coming off of a loss. Remember, back in RoboMania 7 for the main event, it did lose by split decision. So it is looking to come back today with a lot of vengeance and a lot of anger in its heart to see if it can get back on that winning streak. But in its way, we have a robot who's been sneaky and surprising this entire past couple fights. It is 2-0. And it is currently on a 2-fight winning streak, ranked 9. And Wild Goose is going to try its best to make the upset. 3, 2, 1. Let our co-main event begin. Splatoon versus Wild Goose. And Splatoon, right off the bat, really aggressive with its drive, slamming Wild Goose against the wall a couple of times. Wild Goose is now on its head, but it can self-right. We do got to remember that. It's pinned up against the wall right now, and it's trying its best. Gets hit a couple times really hard by Splatoon. Splatoon is staying aggressive and controlling this first 30 seconds of this fight. It doesn't seem like Wild Goose can move right now. This might be the end of the fight already. Are you kidding me? It already is the end of the fight. Splatoon, winner by TKO. I'm curious to see what happened to Wild Goose to make it stop moving early in that fight. I wonder if it burnt out its motors, its drive possibly, because it was still uprighted. But we gotta appreciate what Splatoon just did right here. It put on an absolutely fantastic performance. It said, hey, there's levels to this game, and I deserve to be at the top. Splatoon is one of the best robots in this league, and I'm terrified of it. Wow, what a performance by Splatoon. We have had a bunch of quick fights in tonight's fight card, and this one was definitely one of them. A 39-second TKO, where Splatoon pretty much flips over Wild Goose, and then it got flipped over again and just couldn't move after that. I'm not sure what type of damage Splatoon did to Wild Goose, but it definitely was significant enough to stop the drive. With that now though, Splatoon has a record of 3 wins and 1 defeat and will most likely be close to that top 5. So there is definitely a chance that we can see Splatoon getting that title shot in RoboMania 15. Some things do have to go its way. As for Wild Goose, this one was kind of bittersweet. This was a completely new design from what it used to be, so it wasn't really tested against the top tier robots. The good news for Wild Goose though, you can really only go up from there. There is a slight possibility that Wild Goose can be close to getting kicked out of the top 15, depending on how the rankings kind of play out in the future. I can see it maybe still being at 15, or maybe being kicked out after that fight. Not exactly sure how it's going to come out though. A fight that I would absolutely kill to see would be Wild Goose going up against Arcane. I know Arcane is coming off of a huge victory today, and Wild Goose is coming off of a loss. but I think those robots would put on an absolutely fantastic show. Again though, a huge congratulations for Splatoon, a really good victory, a very dominant performance, and I'm excited to see what type of performance it can have in the next couple fight cards. Alright ladies and gentlemen, it is about that time of the night. We are here for our main event of the evening. I'm really excited for this one, so let's jump right into it. Brace yourselves for a main event that'll shake the arena to its core. Undefeated WOMBO Combo's vertical spinner enters the fray against the unstoppable force of Cheesus' horizontal overhead spinner. I am so excited for this fight. We have the number 4 ranked WOMBO Combo going up against the number 8 ranked Cheesus. Both of these robots are really good. We have a slight favor for WOMBO Combo in this fight. I think it's warranted just because of how good it is. In the red square though, we have Cheesus. This robot, undefeated right now, both by decisions. So it hasn't had any finishes yet in the league, but there's a chance it can be done today. It currently has tied for the second most fight of the nights as well, which is absolutely insane. It is very entertaining. But in its way, we got WOMBO Combo, a robot that is currently 3-0 on a 3-fight winning streak, is tied for the 3rd most finishes in the RFL and the 3rd most eliminations in the RFL. I am very excited for this fight. 3, 2, 1, let this matchup begin. WOMBO Combo versus Cheesus, our main event of the night. Cheesus starts out seeming to be getting a little bit of control in this fight. Oh, I'm scared for when their weapons collide together. It's going to be scary. They're both going to go flying. And WOMBO Combo, just like that, is set on fire, and Cheesus flipped out of the arena. That happened way too fast. What? I'm going to say it. Are you kidding me right now? I need to see this replay. The 3rd quickest elimination in the RoboMania Fighting League goes to WOMBO Combo. Cheesus sets it on fire. Let's see this full replay. Sets it on fire, and then WOMBO Combo hits it. Oh, and it just nearly, oh my goodness, it gets knocked out. Are you absolutely kidding me right now? WOMBO Combo gets another elimination 20 seconds into the fight. I have a whole list of things that I'm about to read right now, so just bear with me on this one. WOMBO Combo is tied 2nd for most finishes and most eliminations in the league, tied 3rd for the quickest finish and the quickest elimination in the league. This robot is 4-0, completely undefeated, and I think Counter Blitz is shaking in its boots a little bit. I am extremely excited to see the growth of what WOMBO Combo has been since it first made its appearance in this league, and now look at it. I have to say, I mean, Quap is also at the very top, but I think WOMBO Combo just made a huge impression, knocked Cheesus out of the arena, and Cheesus is one of the best robots in this league. I don't know. I have no idea. I think WOMBO Combo, I think it should have the number 1 next to its name coming next fight card. Now that's a fight that I really want to see. WOMBO Combo versus Quap. We need to write that one down because that will be an absolute barn burner. I don't think the fight will go over 30 seconds, but I have no idea. I'm really excited to see the future of this top 5. There's so much good talent in this league right now, and every single top 4 fights of each card have been really, really good as of lately. As for Cheesus, it was on a 2-fight winning streak, and now it gets its first loss of its career. The crazy part about this was Cheesus set WOMBO Combo on fire within the first, I don't know, was it 20 seconds of the fight? So that's how much damage Cheesus can dish out. Its stats don't really show it because it just has 2 victories by decision, and it has no finishes under its name. But Cheesus is one hell of a robot when it comes to power. Now it is sitting at 8 right now, and it is most likely going to drop down a couple of spots. I don't think it's going to drop down really far just because WOMBO Combo, it's a really good robot. I don't think there's going to be a lot of change in Cheesus' rankings, but I guess we're going to have to see when the rankings are released next week. Speaking of which, I do have a couple of announcements to make that I was saving for the end of this episode, so I'll jump right into it now. I am planning on getting out more videos when it comes to the league in general. Now, after each fight card, I do plan on having not a podcast style, episode, but a recap and a rankings update of what's going on around the league. Now, most of you know that I have been taking a little bit of a break from Discord just so I can purely focus on this channel. And there's a lot of stuff still in the works right now. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with the server in general, but my main priority is this fighting league, and I want to make sure that I'm getting out high quality videos and entertaining fights. My main goal is to have all of the conversation that is happening from the Discord channel that I created and move it here to the channel. I will definitely be getting more updates probably by next week when the rankings video comes out, but I will definitely keep you guys updated with what's going on with that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching RoboMania. We had an absolutely amazing fight card today, and it was such an entertaining, and there's a lot of quick fights. A lot of records were set today, which is really awesome. We have a lot of new names that are coming in the future as well, so keep an eye out for some more debuting robots. And all I have to say, the future is going to be bright with this league. If you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate it if you wrote down in the comments down below what you liked about it, what you disliked about it. I love all feedback, so even if it is negative, that is totally okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because I absolutely had a blast with this one today. And I will see you guys all next time on RoboMania.